But even in defense, the Ukrainian army already faces a much more fundamental problem.
On average, between 2 and 4 years to set up a new production line.
Russia seems to be bypassing Western sanctions and ramping up the production of the Dagger hypersonic missiles.
Some of the things are quite alarming. So in addition to the fact that Lake City has halted sales to civilians.
For the past year, we have been discussing the impending ammunition scarcity. Now that it has materialized, there are 5 indications that it is. Number 5. The ongoing conflict in Europe. The war in Europe, often referred to as the conflict in Ukraine, has had far-reaching consequences not only for the nations directly involved, but also for the global supply chain of small arms ammunition and munitions. This conflict has significantly depleted the stockpiles of ammunition and munitions in Europe, the United States, and even Russia. The implications of these depletion are complex and extend beyond the immediate combatants, as they impact the availability of these crucial materials worldwide. Small arms ammunition and munitions.
But even in defense, the Ukrainian army already faces a much more fundamental problem.
On average, between 2 and 4 years to set up a new production line.
Finding ammunition to keep the weapons it already has firing,
which include everything from bullets to artillery shells, are vital for any modern military operations. The ongoing war in Europe has seen an unprecedented demand for these resources due to the intensity and longevity of the conflict. As a result, the existing stockpiles have been rapidly depleted, making it increasingly difficult to meet the demand. The consequences of this scarcity are multifaceted. First and foremost, the scarcity of small arms ammunition and munitions directly affects the military capabilities of the involved countries, including the United States. A depleted stockpile means that military forces might not have enough ammunition and munitions to carry out their operations effectively. This could lead to a significant disadvantage in ongoing or potential conflicts. To address these challenges, governments and industries must consider a multifaceted approach. This may include investing in domestic production capacity, researching alternative materials, and diversifying sources of critical raw materials. International cooperation in managing and securing these resources is also essential to maintain peace and security. In conclusion, the war in Europe has profoundly impacted the availability of small arms ammunition and munitions, depleting stockpiles and affecting the global supply chain of raw materials. The consequences of this shortage are wide-ranging, affecting national security, economies, and international relations. To mitigate these challenges, a coordinated and strategic effort is required to ensure the availability and security of these crucial resources. Number 4. Europe and support to Israel. The war in Europe has not only depleted small arms ammunition and munitions, but also created an environment of heightened global tension. In this context, the United States' significant support to Israel, both politically and economically, has become increasingly relevant. Billions of dollars worth of ammunition and military aid have been provided to Israel over the years. The situation in Europe has created an atmosphere of uncertainty and unpredictability in international relations. The United States and other countries involved in the conflict face the challenge of balancing support to their allies, like Israel, while addressing the growing demand for ammunition due to the European war.
Russia seems to be bypassing Western sanctions and ramping up the production of the Dagger hypersonic missiles.
Trying to find out how the so-called shell hunger is impacting the way this war is being fought.
There is a lot more that can be done from that level.
This raises concerns about the sustainability of supplying ammunition to both domestic and international partners and the potential for resource strains. Additionally, the situation in Europe and support for Israel has the potential to escalate into a broader geopolitical conflict, especially considering the complex relationships between various countries involved. The interconnectedness of these international dynamics necessitates careful diplomatic management to prevent further escalation. The fragile nature of civilian ammunition production in the U.S. The United States has recently witnessed a challenging period of civilian ammunition shortages, which had significant implication for arm owners, sporting enthusiasts, and even national security. The ability to produce ammunition for civilian use is intertwined with the production of military-grade ammunition, as both share many common raw materials and production processes. Vista Outdoors, a major player in the civilian ammunition production industry, played a critical role in alleviating the ammunition shortage crisis. As the largest civilian ammunition producer in the United States, Vista Outdoors manufactured several well-known ammunition brands. Their contribution was instrumental in meeting the demand for ammunition in a challenging period. However, the recent sale of Vista Outdoors production facilities to Revisit, a company based in the Czech Republic, raises questions about the continuity of civilian ammunition production in the US. Revisit's ownership by a single individual in his early 30s and his reported wealth of $2 billion add further complexity to the situation. It's unclear whether Revisit has the financial capacity and commitment to maintain the production facilities at the level required to meet domestic demand. The transition in ownership and potential changes in production priorities may have far-reaching consequences for the civilian ammunition market. This could affect pricing, availability, and the ability of arm owners and enthusiasts to access ammunition for sporting and self-defense purposes. Implications and the need for multifaceted solutions. The combinations of ongoing conflict in Europe, substantial support to Israel, and the vulnerability of civilian ammunition production in the United States creates a fragile ecosystem with potential ramifications for global stability. To address these challenges, several measures must be considered. Diversification of sources. Relying on a single source of ammunition, especially in times of crisis, is risky.
To communicate that this effort is not a temporary surge,
and we need the industry to ramp up production in a much higher tempo,
but rather it's a sustained, potentially longer-term effort.
The United States must explore opportunities for diversifying its ammunition supply sources to mitigate potential vulnerabilities. Investment in domestic production. Ensuring the stability of domestic ammunition production capacity is essential. This involves both government support for manufacturers and incentivizing companies to maintain or expand their facilities. Diplomacy and conflict resolution. The international community should work diligently to de-escalate conflicts and promote peaceful resolutions. Reducing the demand for ammunition through diplomatic means can alleviate the pressure on global supply chains. Strategic stockpiling. Maintaining strategic stockpiles of critical resources, including ammunition, can serve as a buffer during times of crisis and prevent resource depletion. Regulatory measures. Government should consider implementing regulations or policies to manage ammunition productions and distribution, particularly during times of heightened demand or crisis. Number 3. Changing military calibers. One of the primary reasons behind the discontinuation of commercial ammunition production by the US military is the shift in caliber requirements. The military's ammunition needs are determined by evolving strategies, tactics, and weapon systems. When the military decides to adopt new arms or weapon platforms with different calibers, the production of older calibers may be phased out to prioritize the manufacturing of ammunitions compatible with the updated arsenal. This decision is driven by a desire to maintain compatibility and standardization within the military, and ensures that soldiers are equipped with ammunition specifically designed for their current weapons, optimizing performance, accuracy, and reliability. Military organizations worldwide frequently adapt their ammunition production to align with technological advancements and changing operational requirements. As a result, the civilian market may lose access to ammunition in specific calibers because the military has reprioritized its production to meet its own, often higher demands. This transition can lead to temporary shortages and increased competition for available supplies in the civilian market, which can influence pricing and availability. Investment in new facilities. The reported investments in brand new facilities in Lake City Ammo suggest a significant commitment to production of military ammunition. These investments likely indicate a strategic shift to modernize and expand military ammunition production capabilities. Such investment in state-of-the-art facilities can enhance production efficiency, quality control, and capacity.
We're talking about billions of dollars that need to be invested in this.
Billions of dollars building new facilities to produce that particular caliber.
The decision to allocate resources towards military ammunition production might come at the expense of producing commercial ammunition. The government's decision to invest in and focus on these facilities reflects the military's dedication to ensuring its own ammunition needs are met efficiently and effectively. Prioritizing military ammunition. Another underlying factor in the cessation of commercial ammunition production by military facilities like Lake City Ammo is the military's primary mission, to equip and sustain its armed forces. While these facilities may have historically served dual roles by producing both military and civilian ammunition, military priorities can shift over time. While it may be disheartening for civilian shooters and enthusiasts, the military's commitment to maintaining an efficient military ammunition production system is paramount to ensuring national security. In times of crisis, the military's access to ammunition must be guaranteed to maintain combat readiness. Implications for civilian market. The decision to discontinue the sale of commercial ammunition in popular calibers by military facilities has implication for the civilian market. Civilian shooters, hunters, and arm enthusiasts who rely on these calibers may experience challenges in sourcing ammunition, including potential shortages and increased price due to reduced supply.
Fortunately, it looks like we might be headed towards another ammunition shortage.
Some of the things are quite alarming. So in addition to the fact that Lake City has halted sales to civilians,
another massive price jump, you would see less on the shelves.
This situation highlights the importance of diversifying ammunition sources within the civilian market. Private ammunition manufacturers, both domestic and international, will play a crucial role in filling the gap left by the military's withdrawal from commercial ammunition production in specific calibers. While this transition may cause temporary disruptions, it can also foster innovation and competition in the civilian ammunition industry. In conclusion, the decision by the U.S. military, specifically the U.S. Army's Lake City Ammo facility, to cease the sale of commercial ammunition in certain calibers is a result of changing military caliber requirements, investments in new facilities, and the military's primary mission of equipping its armed forces. The prioritization of military ammunition production reflects the need to ensure national security and military readiness. While this decision may have implications for the civilian market, it also underscores the importance of diversifying ammunition sources and encouraging innovations within the civilian ammunition industry to meet the demands of civilian shooters and enthusiasts. Number 2. Supply chain disruption. One key factor contributing to the shortage of specific ammunition calibers at distributors and local arms stores is supply chain disruptions. Various elements within the supply chain, from raw materials to manufacturing, distribution, and retail, can experience disruption that affect the availability of ammunition. These disruptions can be triggered by a variety of factors, including global events, natural disasters, economic fluctuations, labor disputes, transportation challenges, or even geopolitical tensions. In recent years, the world has witnessed several events that have had a ripple effect on supply chains. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted global logistics, leading to delays in the production and transportation of goods. Such disruptions can result in ammunition shortages, making it difficult for distributors to maintain a steady inventory. Increased demand. The demand for arms and ammunition can fluctuate due to various factors. While ammunition shortages have often been tied to concerns about arms control or political events, other elements can also impact demand. These factors may include the rise of shooting sports and competitions, an increase in the number of new arm owners, or concerns about personal safety in uncertain times.
Contrast that with what Republicans did to address gun violence and crime the last time they were in charge.
I think worse than that, sir. You will see millions of otherwise law-abiding citizens.
Because Bruin said that that's unconstitutional, so they drafted SB 2, which was originally introduced back in December.
During periods of heightened demand, Distributors and retailers may struggle to keep up with orders. This can lead to depleted inventories and difficulties in restocking specific calibers promptly. The result is that consumers may encounter empty shelves when seeking particular types of ammunition. Export restrictions. Export restriction and international trade regulation can influence the availability of ammunition calibers in domestic markets. Government may impose export controls on certain calibers to maintain national security, regulate the flow of arms and ammunition across borders, or prevent ammunition from falling into the wrong hands. When export restrictions are in place, it can limit the supply of specific calibers to distributors and retailers, particularly if they relied on international sources. This can lead to shortages in the domestic market, leaving consumers and retailers with limited options for specific ammunition types. Manufacturer priorities. Ammunition manufacturers may prioritize specific calibers based on demand, production capacity, or strategic decisions. Manufacturers often allocate resources and production capabilities to calibers that are in high demand or have contractual obligations with government agencies. This may result in reduced production or discontinuation of less popular calibers.
So basically it's saying if there hasn't been something like this done in all of our history, then it can't be imposed, right?
There's a hearing that you can't be at, your counsel can't be present, you haven't been charged with the crime.
Take all of the guns from all of the people. That's their goal.
When manufacturers focus on a subset of calibers, it can cause shortages for those not included in their production plans. Distributors and retailers have little control over these decisions and must adapt to the priorities set by manufacturers. Panic buying and hoarding. One phenomenon that can exacerbate ammunition shortages is panic buying and hoarding by consumers. Events like political instability, calls for stricter arm control measures, or concerns about civil unrest can drive individuals to stockpile ammunition. These spikes in demand, often accompanied by bulk purchases, can quickly deplete distributor and retailer inventories. Panic buying and hoarding further strain the already fragile supply chain, making it difficult for distributors to keep specific calibers in stock. Consumers who engage in such practices may inadvertently contribute to the scarcity of ammunition for those who have more moderate needs. Impact on retailers and consumers. The shortage of specific ammunition calibers has consequences for both retailers and consumers. Local arms stores and ammo shops may struggle to maintain consistent inventory, leading to dissatisfied customers and potentially impacting their bottom line. Retailers may also face challenges in meeting customer expectations, fulfilling back orders, and competing in a market marked by scarcity. For consumers, the situation is frustrating and may necessitate changes in shooting habits, the use of alternate calibers, or increased patience in securing specific ammunition. The scarcity of certain calibers can drive up prices due to the increased demand and reduced supply.
But now there is a right to possess a handgun outside the home.
Unfortunately, this is the only magazine that came with the gun, and it wasn't long after I had it.
There is no other right where we require individuals to show a need in order to be able to exercise that right.
This places financial strain on consumers and may make shooting sports or self-defense less accessible. Necessity of adaptation. In response to these challenges, distributors and retailers may need to adapt their business models and strategies. This could involve diversifying their product offerings, exploring different supply sources, or establishing relationships with multiple manufacturers to ensure a more stable inventory. Consumers may also need to adapt by being flexible in their caliber choices, actively monitoring local supplies, and considering alternative means of acquiring ammunition, such as reloading. Being informed about market trends and industry developments is crucial to making informed choices. Policy considerations also play a crucial role in addressing ammunition shortages. Governments and regulatory bodies may need to balance national security interests with the needs of civilian arm owners. Export controls, import regulations, and industry standards can all influence ammunition availability. Policy considerations also play a role in addressing and mitigating ammunition shortages, with a focus on balancing national security interests with civilian arm ownership needs and promoting a stable ammunition market. Number 1. The global impact of U.S. presidential elections. It is not uncommon for US presidential elections to capture global attention. The outcomes and policies of the US government have far-reaching implications for international relations, trade, and security. As a result, people from all around the world often engage in discussions and debates about US elections, expressing their concerns and hopes for the future. In the case of the 2024 election, the high level of global interest suggests that the decisions made by American voters will have profound consequences for international dynamics, reinforcing the notion that the world is closely watching the United States. Fear and speculation in the lead-up to elections. Election years, particularly presidential elections, tend to bring with them a wave of apprehension and uncertainty. Concerns about the direction of the country and its leadership often lead people to prepare for potential changes by stockpiling resources.
There are many areas, as you might imagine, especially when you're dealing with firearms, where we just don't know.
Contrast that with what Republicans did to address gun violence and crime the last time they were in charge.
That had you prove some type of special need in order to get a permit,
including ammunition. This behavior is rooted in the human instinct to plan for contingencies and protect one's interests during uncertain times. The impact of fear-driven behavior. Fear-driven behavior can have significant consequences on various aspects of society. The increased demand of ammunition in the lead-up to an election can lead to shortages, higher prices, and competition among buyers. Panic buying, as previously discussed, can strain supply chains and exacerbate existing shortages. In the context of the ammunition market, this behavior can create a self-fulfilling prophecy. As more people stock up on ammunition due to election-related fears, the increased demand can lead to actual supply shortages, further fueling concerns and triggering a cycle of escalating demand. The role of political rhetoric. Political rhetoric and campaign strategies play a pivotal role in influencing public sentiment. Such rhetoric can amplify concerns and fears among the electorate, prompting some individuals to take action based on their perception of imminent threats. The influence of political discourse on public behavior is a critical aspect of understanding the dynamics of election-related fear, the importance of critical thinking and informed decision-making. To navigate election-related fears and the potential impact on ammunition availability, individuals are encouraged to exercise critical thinking and informed decision-making. This may involve engaging in production dialogues, staying informed about candidates and policies.
There is no other right where we require individuals to show a need in order to be able to exercise that right.
Shall not be infringed.
Because Bruin said that that's unconstitutional, so they drafted SB 2, which was originally introduced back in December,
and participating in the democratic process by voting in a manner that aligns with their values and beliefs, promoting calm and unity. While election season can be divisive, there is an opportunity for individuals and communities to prioritize calm, unity, and respectful discourse. Deciphering genuine threats from manufactured ones can help individuals make more rational and informed choices. The anticipation and apprehension surrounding the 2024 presidential election in the United States are indicative of the far-reaching influence of the US politics on global stage. Fear-driven behaviors such as stockpiling ammunition can impact supply chains and exacerbate shortages, creating self-fulfilling prophecies. Americans in arms. Arms are deeply ingrained in American society and political debates, with about a third of US adults personally owning an arm. President Joe Biden has proposed arm policy legislation to address rising armed death rates and mass slayings. A Pew Research Center survey conducted in June 2023 found that 49% of US adults live in a household with an arm, including 32% who personally own one. Arm ownership rates vary by political affiliation,
and it has one magazine. So after 30 rounds, I'm done.
There are many areas, as you might imagine, especially when you're dealing with firearms, where we just don't know.
Unfortunately, this is the only magazine that came with the gun, and it wasn't long after I had it.
Majorities of US adults in both partisan coalitions somewhat or strongly favor two policies that would restrict arm access, preventing those with mental illnesses from purchasing arms. 88% of Republicans and 89% of Democrats support this, and increasing the minimum age for buying arms to 21 years old. 69% of Republicans, 90% of Democrats. Majorities in both parties also oppose allowing people to carry concealed arms without a permit. 60% of Republicans and 91% of Democrats oppose this. Arm ownership is linked with views on arm policies, with Americans who own arms being less likely than non-owners to favor restriction on arm ownership. Nearly identical majorities of arm owners, 87%, and non-owners, 89%, favor preventing mentally ill people from buying arms. Arm owners are more likely than non-owners to favor expanded access to arms. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.